Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. You are listening to the Ramadan special on 102.5 FM, Eva Radio. This is the Just Inspire show every Thursday, 12 till 1 p.m. till Ramadan finishes, inshallah. I am Fateema Mafani, your host for the next hour. And today, I have Rukhsana Hussein with me in the studio. Assalamu alaikum, Rukhsana. Are you okay?
Wa alaikum salam. Alhamdulillah, I'm good. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Have you had a good day? How's your day going so far?
I have, yeah. I've been at home today, so yeah, it's been good so far.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so the number to call in, today's topic is actually going to be on Rukhsana telling us about what she does for the community and what inspired her, how and why, and what's coming next, inshallah, as well. So the number to call in is 212-9324, and you can text us in on the studio mobile phone, which is 07450 925 084. So, welcoming Rukhsana today. Rukhsana is a community hero and has been supporting Leicester community since 2015 through many different projects. In all the projects that she has been a vital part of setting up, Rukhsana is committed and dedicated to her community, and today we are going to find out more about her and what she does, why she does, and what's next. So don't forget to call in or text in with your questions or comments for Rukhsana today. So the numbers again, 0116 212 9324, or the mobile text on is 07450 925 084. So, Rukhsana, tell us all about what you do.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. And
more than welcome.
Yeah, you've said I'm a community hero. I have been given the title in the past of community champion, so alhamdulillah. I respect everybody who has given me the title, who honours that title as well. And I think it's just amazing for me to be able to be that kind of part in the community. So yeah, as the community champion, as we say, I work with lots of different groups since 2015. So I originally started working with refugees and asylum seekers, but I've also worked with women who've survived domestic violence. I've worked with children subjected to bullying. I've done some work with schools, and I'm currently in the process of setting up Outspoken.
Brilliant. Sounds. Want to know more?
I'm good.
So, why do you do this, and what's your inspiration behind it, Rukhsana?
I think for me, it's just been really important to be able to make a positive difference in my community. The community is where I live. The people around me are my people. And I think that we all need to have that kind of community essence within us. And for me, it's always been about, if the people around me are happy, then I'll be happy. And if anyone around me is not happy or they're struggling with something, then it is my responsibility as well to try and make a difference there. So positive impact is huge. And in terms of inspiration, well, if we look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he always helped everybody around him. It didn't matter where they were from, what their background was, young, old, working, not working. It didn't matter. There was no limits to helping. And I think for me, that's my inspiration. Because if we've got the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to look up to, that's what we need to be doing. And if we can all do a little bit, the world would just be a nicer place.
Absolutely. That reminds me of a quote of a few lines that I hear of a nasheed. Share your mercy like the rain that cares not whom it falls upon.
Oh, mashallah. Yeah.
So that's amazing. Yeah. So a great person to look towards for the inspiration as well.
That's
it. What more greater person than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself to look upon for to inspire yourself. So tell us a bit about where all this started.
So it started back in 2015, and I came across a message on Facebook, and brother Naeem Briscoe, who many of you will know, he was doing a trip to Calais, and he had called out for some donations. So I literally just got in my car and thought, you know what, I'm just going to fill this boot up with whatever I can off the list. And I took my kids along with me, and we went to his workplace and we dropped them off, and that was my first sort of meeting with Naeem in person. And that's sort of where it all started. Just got in my car and thought, you know what, I'm just going to fill this.
Excellent. Okay, producer, we've got a bit of an echo. Thank you for sorting that out. Right, excellent. So, when did you say you actually started doing all this, right?
Back in 2015.
2015, mashallah. So you've been going strong for 4 years now.
4 years, alhamdulillah.
That's amazing. So just to remind our listeners, in conversation with Rukhsana Hussein, telling us a bit about what she does for the community how long she's been doing it for, and what she plans on doing next. We're on Ramadan special, Eva 102.5 FM. The number to call in with any questions you have for Rukhsana. If you're wanting to do something, like what she's doing, call us in, ask her. I'm sure she's ready to help.
Yeah, I'll try.
With a big heart that she has.
Alhamdulillah.
The contact number is 212-9324, and the number to text is 07450-925-084. You can also join us on Facebook Live, and we have something new on Instagram Live. So you can follow us on Instagram Live on Ramadan.fm as well today. Right, so Rukhsana, tell us what happened next.
So after that initial sort of supporting somebody who was doing some really good work out there, I realised that Naeem had decided he was going to do another trip. So I thought, oh, this is another chance for me to try and get involved. So I went over to a warehouse where they were doing the collecting donations. And when I got in there, it was literally bags and bags of stuff. People had donated. It was amazing what the Leicester community was able to do just within a few days. And to see all of that there. And there was literally... there was 4 of us there. So there was me and my daughter. And then there was another lady with her daughter. And they were sorting through at one side of the warehouse, and I was trying to sort through things on the other side of the warehouse. So we sort of got on with everything we were doing, and we got talking. And that person in that room at that time was Syra, who is a really good friend of mine. And it was the first time I met her, and it was just amazing because the vision that we sort of had and things we talked about, we were both sort of in the similar place. We wanted to help, we wanted to do more, and we seemed to just sort of gel straight away. And within 2 weeks of meeting Syra, so back in September 2015, we set up an organisation called Hope for Humanity. And yeah, it was just amazing because things just happened.
Okay, sorry to pause you for a second, Rukhsana. We've got a caller.
Oh, okay, that's good.
You can take the call.
Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, I recognise that voice.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. This is Darren, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, how are you, Darren?
Very well, thank you.
And what do you want to share with us today, or do you have a question for me?
Well, I just wanted to say that in your inspirational speech at the beginning of the show, I just thought it was absolutely fabulous what you do personally and for the community and for everybody for a better world. And I wish there was more people like you. And if everybody measured a third or a half of you, this world would be a better place.
Oh, thank you.
I agree with you, Darren. Excellent. I agree with you completely. That's a very nice.
But
very
that's
true
it.
as well.
Carry on what you're doing and be a champion of all champions.
Oh, thank you very much, Darren.
And hopefully she can inspire more champions
Yes,
to come along
definitely.
to make this place a better place.
Yeah, I hope so.
Excellent. Thank you for your call, Darren.
Okay,
You have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
That was very nice to hear from Darren.
Yeah, it's really
Thank you.
nice. It's always nice to hear from people you know. And also just to be reminded that they're still following what you're doing and, you know, they're sort of watching.
And it
out.
just shows how much of an impact you make on people's lives, Rukhsana.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, it's
Excellent.
always nice to hear from people.
Indeed.
Lovely.
Indeed. So sorry, you were saying something about setting up Hope for Humanity with Syra.
Yeah, so we set up Hope for Humanity and we started to work with refugees. Me and Syra ended up spending sort of days and nights together, really, because we started to support people with sort of household essentials. So they were given properties by the council, but they didn't have any furniture or any carpets or anything like that. And I still remember the first house we ever did. So we got a whole group of volunteers together and we painted this house. We sorted out the carpets. We got all the furniture in. And within 3 days, this family was able to sort of, you know, have the house ready for the kids to move in. So it was just an amazing...
That's just so fascinating.
Yeah.
That's amazing, actually. Like, just to be able to create that space, safe space for a family who's coming from another country new within a space of 3 days with the support of the community.
That's right.
And it just takes a couple of people to go out there and just make some noise.
Yeah.
And this can all actually just start unfolding and happening.
I think that's what the amazing thing was, that so many people came together and it was nothing about religion or race or gender or anything like that. We were a whole group of mixed people coming together just with the same vision that we wanted to make that place a home for those people, because that family actually was from Syria. And we know that all the conflict and everything that they had come from, and they just wanted to settle down and they just wanted to be safe. And I think for us, we were a part of that, and that's just an amazing feeling.
Absolutely. I can imagine. And I'm sure they're those stories that inspire to carry on and keep on going stronger.
Definitely. I think if you can make that impact with just a few of you, and I think there was in total 8 of us involved in that, And I think if 8 people come together in 3 days, you can make that kind of impact on a family. Then I think a lot more of us out there can do that. So, get together with like-minded people. Let's make a difference
Share your vision.
together.
Share, talk, speak out.
That's
Share.
it.
If you've got a dream and a vision that you've got in your head,
Yeah.
talk about it, and that's when it starts becoming a reality.
Definitely, yeah.
Right. So till September 2000. Sorry, I think we've got a call.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Hello.
Rukhsana, you can take that call.
Hello, it's Rukhsana.
Hey, Assalamu alaikum, Rukhsana. How you doing? It's Naeem. You okay?
Wa alaikum salam. I'm okay, thank you, Naeem. How are you?
I feel like I'm calling you on your phone right now, but I got to remember I'm on the radio station.
You
How
are,
you
so
doing? You
yeah.
okay?
I'm all right, thank you.
I just want to share a couple of things regarding some of the stuff you've done, and also regarding the hardship of doing what you're doing as well, because a lot of people think, Rukhsana, chirpy, going here, going there, doing this, doing that. We have to always understand she has children, she has a family, and at the same time she deals with a lot of criticism as well, because not everybody out there is always happy for people doing what she's doing.
I agree.
I'm in the same field, so I kind of semi-relate to that as well. But Rukhsana is a lady that puts her chin up and continues. And I'll share one very quick story with the listeners and the viewers on Facebook or Instagram, wherever they're doing. I remember one time we were delivering aid to Calais, and I met this sister. Her name was Rukhsana. Didn't know much about her. And she came plodding along, and she came up to me and she goes, Naeem Briscoe, I want to help. Now, we get that on a daily basis. People say they want to help and they want to do this and they do that, which is great, because we've got to bring champions in other people. You're right. But there was something different about this girl or this lady, right? When she came to me, I looked at her face and I looked at the passion she had, the hunger she had, and I said from the beginning, this lady is going to do something and she's going to be consistent. Anyway, I remember that she couldn't make it at one day to the warehouse. So she came outside my house, and the van, we had a big van, and her and a friend, Syra at the time, was obviously still friends, came in the back of the van and they were packing things, and I couldn't believe the amount of work and the passion she had. Now, initially I thought, wait a minute, how did this woman become such a superhero, do all this work? It's impossible. I've met loads of people. There's not many people like this. But through time and through the work she does, the more she does, the more hearts she touches, and the more smiles she puts on people's faces. There's a lot of stuff that your viewers don't know that she does, that
Indeed.
she doesn't talk about, because she's not allowed to talk about it, because she does a lot for certain families locally as well. And to me, Rukhsana is, she is definitely a hidden gem, and she definitely makes not just Leicester, but makes the whole humanity proud to have a sister like this working so honorably and so hard to make a difference in our community.
Wow. Wow.
That's powerful.
It's powerful, and it's coming straight from Brother Name's heart, and we can hear we can all hear it straight from his voice, that he means what he's saying and how much you've really put into everything you've ever done.
Yeah, and I think that on this occasion, as Naeem is on the phone, I just wanted to say, and I had wanted to say this as well, and I would have probably got to it later on, but he's really been like a mentor to me. So he is a brother, but also a mentor to me, and I think you've really, really supported everything that I've done. And when things have been hard, you've sort of just given me that push to say, what, it's hard now, but you'll come through this. So, I really, really appreciate your support. You were the initial person that I sort of reached out to start all this work, and I will never forget the support that you've given me in the last 4 years, and I hope that will continue.
Only one advice I'd give to anybody listening, and even this is directed to you, Rukhsana,
Yeah.
and even people are listening that are in a similar field, right? Focus on doing what you're doing, stay positive, and keep doing what you're doing. Because to make a change and make a difference, we have to be consistent, one. And second of all is, we will always get good and bad things said about you, or whatever it may be, because you get that. You're in the social platform. You're going to get people that don't like it and people that do like it.
Yeah.
But you've got to brush them to the side and remember why you're doing it. You're doing it for the sake of our Lord, and we're doing it to be the betterment of our society and community. So on that note, well done. I'm going to keep listening to the show,
Thank
and
you.
I'll let you guys carry on. God bless you both. And
Thank you, Naeem, for that call.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Wow. Rukhsana,
Okay.
you've left, that call's left me quite speechless, overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And what a great example. Like, it's amazing.
I think it's so important to remember people that are part of your journey. And I think Naeem has been that person and he's been part of the journey, and just someone really genuine. And I think it is difficult to find genuine people out there. And I won't forget, the support that he's given me right from the start till today.
And that's one thing that's amazing, that you remember the people that have been there at each stage and supported you.
Definitely.
And you're taking them along with you.
Yeah.
And they appreciate and they see that. And they've seen your hard work from day one.
Yeah, and I think that you have to do that, because if you're going to do anything for the community, you do have to make sure that you're sincere in your own intentions as well. And people who are genuine to you will remind you of that as well. So that's really good.
Excellent.
So
Right. The producer's being funny too. Right. So yes. Facebook, we have Zina Imran. Assalamu alaikum, beautiful sisters. Wa alaikum salam, Zinat. Noura Islam saying Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam, sister Noura Islam. Ahmad Dada has joined. Amreen, our co-host. Assalamu alaikum, Amreen. Hope you're well. She's just joined, and Mohammed Fateema has also joined us on Facebook. And Jazakallah for your support. You're listening to Ramadan Special Eva on 102.5 FM. You can join us on Facebook Live. We also have Instagram Live today, or www.ramadan.fm. We have Sister Rukhsana Hussein sharing her story, her journey, on how she serves our community. Right, so Rukhsana, we've only got a short while left before the break. So before we go, we'll just touch up a bit on what else you've been involved in. We have about 4 or 5 minutes.
yeah, okay.
What else have you been involved in?
So I think, so after setting up Hope for Humanity, I think things just sort of started to happen. So as I got into the community, I started to see other things that needed change. And I remember hearing a story about a young 11-year-old Asad Khan in Bradford. So not local as in Leicester, but local as in still in our country. But the fact that he was such a young child and he committed suicide. And I think for me, it was so important to understand why a child of that age would be in that position, and what I could do to make sure that I was doing my best to try and make sure that didn't happen, even if it was just limiting that to Leicester. So we went, again with Naeem, we went to Bradford and we met the family. And I think I really needed that, because I couldn't really forget sort of what had happened. And I needed to understand. So I think that going there and understanding what actually happened and why made it easier for me to then set up an initiative called Speak Out. And this was around raising awareness around bullying, and actually getting people to challenge the stigmas and silence around bullying, because a lot of bullying does happen, but it doesn't always often get talked about. And I think a lot of schools deal with it really well, but then there are some schools that will brush it under the carpet and hope it goes away, and things like that. They don't go away, and they do affect children. So setting up Speak Out was a way of sort of me being able to actively do something about a bad situation, really. Moving on from that, in May 2017, I went back to Pakistan, where my mum and dad are from. And while I was there, I heard a story of a 13-year-old girl, and she was having to work to support her family. And I think when I heard her story, I was really impacted by it, because she was having to work to support her brothers and sisters who were still at school. She was only 13 herself, but she was always having to earn the money to get medication for her mother, who was sick. Her father had passed away, so she then became sole provider for her family. When hearing her story about abuse and how she was exploited because of her age, and secondly because she was female, I felt I needed to do something for the females out there in Azad Kashmir. And I set up a Sewing Skills for Life project, which is still running to date. And alhamdulillah, we've been able to help 250 women so far.
Wow.
And we are trying to do the same training course for 500 women this year.
So I'm assuming you're setting up and you're training these young women, young girls, to sew, so they can.
Yeah, so what we do is we offer them a 3-month training course. We provide them with 2 trained teachers, and we set up the training school within their village, so they don't have to travel more than sort of a 10 or 15-minute walk. And they'll be trained on that 3-month course, and once they pass, they will then be offered a machine. And they take away that sewing machine, and they can hopefully start to earn their own money. And, this is a sustainable project, which is so important, because that's a skill for life.
And you're going out there personally. So are you seeing these once they're trained, are you seeing these young women, young girls starting to earn their
Yeah, so
their
I
own
went
living.
back last summer.
Yes.
I'm hoping to go back this year again. And yeah, it does run every 3 months, and we have a month break. So I'm always trying to like keep on top of what's happening. How many girls have we trained? They're always sending me videos and pictures. So if anybody sort of wants to sort of look at what we've done, then that's available as well. But yeah, inshallah, I hope to go again this year.
So when
just
you
to see
when you
what's
plan to
happening.
go back this year, this summer, are you looking to go on your own, or are you looking to take some more women with you?
If people would like to come, then it's always an option. There's no reason why they can't come along. And yeah, it would be lovely to have people come along and actually see what we do in
Definitely.
person, and to have that sort of one-to-one and meet
the
these
first
girls.
hand,
Yeah,
of seeing and witnessing what's
that's
actually
it.
being done.
That experience will be completely different to if I show you a video or pictures of these girls, but to actually be there, because not only do they
justify it.
gain from the sewing skills, but they actually gain from being with each other and learning from each other. So there's so many people that will be able to help.
Excellent. So we're going to take a little break from here, Rukhsana.
Thank you.
Your Ramadan special, Eva, 102.5 FM. We shall take a break and we'll be back in conversation with Rukhsana shortly.
Thank you.
Hello and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. You're listening to Ramadan Special Eva on 102.5 FM. And with myself, Fateema Mafrani, as your host. We have about half an hour left to the show. And I have our guest today is Rukhsana Hussein. We are discussing about her journey, that how she has served the community and what she's been doing and what's to come. Just to remind you, we're on Facebook Live. We're also on Instagram Live today. And you can contact us on 0116 212 9324. And we have a call right now. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, Sister Rukhsana and Sister Fateema. You okay?
Wa alaikum alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Who do we have?
It's Fateema. You know me, Fateema.
Farina. Oh, assalamu alaikum, Farina. You okay?
Alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm great, alhamdulillah. Good to hear from you. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm just listening to the radio, and I think I've met Sister Rukhsana at a city retreat.
Okay.
One of the talks, and I'm really inspired by what you do. Often I'm always sort of available to help and support, but I never know where to turn.
Okay.
And I just wanted to know, or seek some advice from you, that if you did need any help, or if you did need any support, or just anything, that I'm here. And if you can guide me through how I can help you, inshallah.
Okay, yeah, no, that's amazing, because we always want people to help, and there's always something going on. So at any point when someone meets me, they usually ask the question, what are you doing next? So in terms of what am I doing next, there'll be an Eid party for refugees on the 8th of June at the city retreat, so that's something you can get involved in. And there also is going to be another Art of Words event, which was a poetry event that we did for International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And that will hopefully be in June, if not in July. So that will be just an update and feedback in terms of what we've collected for the sewing project before I actually leave for Kashmir. So there's another event coming up as well. So there's definitely two immediate things you can get involved in. And then long term, there's always small projects that can be done within our own neighbourhoods, with our own neighbours, with people that you know, yourself, setting up small groups, getting ladies together to talk about different things, different issues. And we also have another platform. So there's definitely things you can get involved with. So if you leave your details with the radio station, I'll pick that up, your number, and then I'll get in touch with you, inshallah.
Inshallah. All right then.
Thank you so much for your call, Farina. If you stay on the call, our producer will take your details.
Okay,
Assalamu alaikum.
Islam.
Right, just before we move on, Rukhsana, we have Amina Bijal Natwani saying, Salam ladies, Ruki, I agree, you are an amazing inspiration. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Amina.
Thank you. We have Shafina Farooq just joined us on Facebook, and Amreen Razak says, Assalamu alaikum, sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring you ease, inshallah, to keep serving humanity and bringing change. Keep striving and do what you're doing, my real life superheroes. Lots of love. May you keep being inspiring. I'm grateful to know you, alhamdulillah. May we all be in the means to bring change and serve for the sake of Allah, subhanallah. Keep striving.
Ameen. I think that's amazing, and I think that Amreen also does a lot of work with the community, and I think that there's lots of things that we can all be doing together, and we've done some projects together in the past. So yeah, I think it's so important we get together and we do more things to help our community.
Excellent. We've just had Bazi Jabbar join us on Facebook, and we have Brother Naeem Briscoe online with us, and we have a message from Suf Purpose. Is this on air now? I can't hear anything. If there is any technical issues, our producer will just have a look at that for you now. And Shiz Iqbal, welcome. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. Right, so Rukhsana, you've mentioned you, apart from the earlier parts of what you did, you've recently started Speak Out, and you've mentioned your sewing skills. So is there anything else?
Well, yeah, there is
apart from these two,
a few other things that I've been involved in. So recently I was invited by Bushra Ali to be on the panel for a project called Empowered Women, Empowering Women. It's something that when I had a look at it, I thought, oh, this is amazing, because we need something like this. And when I went on as the panel, it was amazing to share some of my story. And the feedback on the day and just the vibe in the room was just, amazing. It was just so powerful having, over 100 women in that room. There was panel members all speaking from a different place, but all from a personal journey as well. And I think that moving on from that and then doing the actual personal journey on the next event just gave me that follow-up, and I was able to share a little bit more of myself with people. And I think that sharing yourself and your own experiences with people really gets you connected, And for me, being connected with people is really important. So, you know, my journey to empowerment is very different to everybody else's journey. It'll be different to yours, Fateema. It'll be different to anybody else's. But what is important is we share those journeys of empowerment. And I think that with this empowered women, empowering women, it's going to give opportunity for ladies to share their story, which is important because the struggle that we go through or the things that happen, everybody goes through a different struggle. But at the end of the day, it's those struggles that have made us who we are today. And if we can share that, and especially with the younger generation, then we can show the younger girls that actually there will be trials and tribulations, but we have to get over that. And then we can still be successful and we can still do things. So, you know, I have a part-time job. I've got a family. I've got 4 children. I do all this with the community as well. So all of this doesn't just happen. It happens because of all the trials and everything that I've been through. I've made myself stronger. And those people around me have helped me to do that. So recognizing your own support network as well is another important way of knowing, you know, on my journey, who was there for me, you know, who are the people that I had to sort of reach out to. And it's not a bad thing reaching out to people. I think that's another important thing is to say that reach out to people to help.
Reach out, yes. And it's almost like whatever you're doing, your experience is then becoming a guidance for the next generation or the other people that have always thought about it but not able to.
That's it. I think if we shy away from trials and if we try to hide all the problems we have, what that does is that creates that barrier with the new generation. And I think the younger girls will sort of see that and think, oh, well, she's always smiling and she's always this and she's always happy and she's always doing stuff and she never has any problems. You know, so when they have problems, they think it's such a big deal and they're never going to get over them. What we need to open up and say, and that's not just with girls, but all youth, is to say, you know what, actually, no, problems will always be there. It's how you deal with them. And if we start talking about how we dealt with the problems when we had them, they're going to go through the similar things. Life is not different. When we were 15, we went through the same things that other 15-year-olds go with. Obviously, modern times, things change, but it doesn't mean that, you know, their lives are completely different to ours. They're not. We can still use the same skills to, you know, go through our journey and make it a little bit easier.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you there. So, is there anything
so
more?
The most recent thing, so the pending thing that's happening at the moment is I'm hoping to set up Outspoken. So I'll be the founder of Outspoken. Outspoken, I just touched on it earlier, but it is about giving a voice really to people that have been silenced in the past, people who either shy away from talking about certain topics, but really it is about having a voice. And I think it's so important because for me, for the people that know me, and for those of you that didn't know me until this radio show, you know I can talk. And for me, it's so important to be outspoken because what that's given me is it's given me that power to speak to other people, but also for them to speak back to me as well, to be able to be open with me. So that's really helped. So I think Outspoken is definitely going to be something really powerful and something really personal to me. So I think that, you know, that's something I'm really looking forward to see what that brings. And then on the sort of other side of that, there is another group that I'm part of. It's called One Step UK, and I'm a co-founder of that group. And it's a platform for everyone to speak about topics maybe that have stigma attached to them or things that people don't talk about because they don't think they need to. But I think that as a community, we need to talk about all topics. Nothing should be shied away from and nothing should be brushed under the carpet. We need to get things out in the open so that we can start dealing with the problems that we're having. So One Step UK, again, is just another part of what I do. So we meet every week and we have an event every month. And we get about 40 to 50 people come to our monthly event. And it's a range of ages that come. So it's not just a youth project. It's not just for adults. It's for anyone, open to all. So again, another amazing thing that, you know, people can find out about and get involved in as well if they want to.
Excellent. Do you want to specify a bit more on what you do for the youth side of?
So
I believe it's not just for girls for that, isn't it? You do that it's for boys as well.
Yeah, so the One Step UK is actually for both girls and boys. We're also looking at bridging the gap between parents and children. So we often get parents come with their children, which is amazing again, is that we need that as well because then parents can voice what their concerns are and the children are listening and vice versa. The children voice their concerns and the parents are actually listening. And in a group of 50 people, the kind of conversations that are coming up have been really amazing because the kind of things that we just assume. And I think that we are a little bit of a society of assumptions. We're just assuming we know all the time, but we don't know. We don't even know what our next door neighbor is thinking unless we ask them. How can we assume? We have to stop assuming and we have to ask those questions. So having that platform there has been really valuable for people to actually have that voice of saying, no, actually this is what I think, and actually no, I don't share the view of my sister, or no, I don't share the view of my mother, but this is my view, and this is why I have this view. And it's been great to have those open conversations.
Brilliant. I mean, that's something amazing for the next generation, giving them that platform.
Yeah,
Such an important thing. So before we go to the next thing, we're on Ramadan special 102.5 FM Eva Radio. We've just had Shiz Iqbal, Naeem Popat, Hijama Azra, Shahid Patel join, and they've just given salams. Hijama Azra has just given salam alaikum. Wa alaikum salam, Sister Azra. We have just under 14 minutes. The number to call, if there is any questions for Sister Rukhsana Hussein.
No hard questions, please.
No hard questions. Okay. Keep them gentle. 212-9324. Call in. Any questions about how, what, and why? I'm sure Rukhsana, like I said, is ready to answer.
Why not?
So, Outspoken is what you are currently setting up. What made you think of that as the name of the organization?
Well, Outspoken, this was interesting because I've been wanting to try and set something up for the 4 years that I've been doing things. So I've attached to lots of different organizations. I've done things on my own. I've done things with groups of people. I've done things in pairs. So I've done lots of things, but I wanted to set something up on my own. But when I sat to try and think of a name, it had to be one word and it had to say everything. So it had to say everything that I am.
Absolutely.
So for me, it was really important. But it didn't take me long because what I did was I went back to my childhood. Because what I noticed is through the work that I've done in the last 4 years is if you want to find a happy place or a good place, go back to your childhood and you start finding out what you used to enjoy, what things you used to do. And I sort of went back there and thought, okay, let me go back to a place where I was young, free, didn't have all the stresses of life these days that we have. And, start thinking. And when I got there, I remembered an occasion when I used to get told off for talking too much. And this was my problem, was always talking too much. I get told off now as well as an adult, but that's a different story. That's a completely different story. But what I did find was I used to ask questions. I used to ask why. So do you know that child, you'll see supermarket, parents, they'll go and they'll say, can you do this? And the kids will be like, but why, Mum? Why do I have to do it? And often we sort of, shy away from that, or we just shoo our children away and say, we're not going to answer that. So I was sort of coming from that place. And I thought that maybe it was because I was too outspoken and people didn't want to ask. And that's where it came from. So that's where the sort of personal place that it comes from. And I think that, it's just really important for me to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to voice their opinion, because I think we've become a society where we're too scared to say what we think or what we feel. And we shouldn't be scared of speaking out about what we feel or what we think, because that's an opinion and an opinion can't be wrong.
Yes.
We have to do it sensitively. We do have to make sure that we're doing it properly, but it does need to be done.
Yeah. Like our caller earlier said, Naeem Briscoe, that don't let the negativity stop you from doing what you're doing. You're going to get the bad and the good.
Definitely. But
keep pursuing with your pursuit, because you just got to focus and look ahead.
That's right. So that's sort of where that comes from. So I think Outspoken, because that will allow me to do the kind of work that I want to do, which is allowing people to speak, allowing people to express themselves through poetry. So I recently did an event called The Art of Words, where we had 10 poets perform, out of which 8 had never performed before. So it was giving an opportunity to people who have been poetry for many years, but not shared that with anyone, and it was giving them that space. So that was really, really good.
Excellent. That's great. Poetry is a great way to express oneself, and which and encouraging youngsters and all ages
definitely
to come with it that way. Yeah, it's brilliant. We have a question. Someone sent in a text. How much work do you do with non-Muslims?
Okay, so well, all the projects that I do are open to everyone. So none of my projects are limited to just Muslims. Obviously, the project that I do in Kashmir is Muslims only, just because of the villages that we go to remotely. Everybody is Muslim in those villages. But otherwise, everything that I do in the UK, so when we've done...
from the refugees?
Yeah, when we've done the refugees, when we've done the Speak Out campaign on bullying, when we've done all the empowering women stuff, this is open to everyone and anyone. And also work with all ages as well. So if there's youth stuff that needs to be done, we'll set up things for the youth. If there's things that need to be done for ladies only, we'll do that. But it's always open to all cultures, all religions. We don't limit to just Muslims.
Excellent. That's great. I hope that's answered our question for our listener that's sent that text in. Right. So, Rukhsana, well, it's completely and absolutely clear, excuse me, that you do some amazing work for our communities. For the needy, for the refugees, for the women, the youth. But aside all of this, you have your own life.
Yes.
you have a family. And I know you mentioned a little while ago, you have children.
I do.
Tell us a little bit about how you manage this and get the balance right for you and your family and for the people that you give yourself to.
Yeah. Okay. That's really quite an important question, really. And I
Very.
think it was something that when I first started, I hadn't even thought about myself. And it actually took somebody else to ask me the question for me to sort of reflect and think, oh, yeah, that's true.
Well, let's stop you there for a second, because that's a great sign, because you didn't think of it. That's a great sign of your selflessness.
Yeah. And I
And
didn't.
that's a beautiful thing.
And they said, how can you do that if you've got 4 children and you've got your husband? So you're dropping them off. They're all like different ages. So I've got quite a variety of ages in my children. So I've got an 18-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So they're quite broad, not all the same age, not all grown up. But I think that the reason I've been able to do it is the support of my family. Without the support of my family, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So the older kids look after the younger kids a lot. So when I'm out doing things, then, I find that there's a lot of times when I wouldn't be able to do those things. I wouldn't be able to attend meetings. I wouldn't be able to organize events and be at events if my children didn't do some of the babysitting. So obviously I still have a 5-year-old. So the older ones do help a lot. So I think that's really important. So there's that part of it as well.
It's a joint family effort.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the other thing I do in order to keep that balance is do something for myself. So 2 years ago, I went to college. I've started to study a counselling course. So I'm hoping in the future I will become a qualified counsellor.
Excellent.
And I think that was quite a selfish thing to do, even though it's still helping people.
I don't agree with that, but okay.
But it was sort of, I want to do something for me. Like, what can I do that's for me? And I didn't study, so I got married at a very young age. I got married at the age of 16, and I didn't go to college. So it was always something that I sort of thought, I'll get around to do it. I'll do it. And I finally managed to do it. So yeah, 2 years ago started.
You mustn't think, and I'm sure the listeners would agree, that that's a selfish act. Remember, until you don't fill your own cup, you can't really look after anybody else.
Very true.
So you've got to fill your own cup before you go out there. But
That's
what
right.
you've done is the other way around.
Yeah.
You completely emptied yourself.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to refill your cup for yourself.
Very true.
It's not the best way, but you've made it to look like it's the best way for you.
Yeah.
So, and it's worked out brilliantly.
It does. It's really
And
good.
apart from family and husband and kids, what about your extended family, like parents, siblings?
Yeah, I think, definitely parents have been help as well. My siblings, especially my eldest sister, Shim, she's really helped a lot. And I think that she's always, because she's my elder sister and I've got younger sister as well, but she's the one I'll sort of ring up if I've got an issue or anything like that. So, it does work really well in terms of having that wider support network as well. But alongside that, then friends as well. So I mentioned Syra earlier. So Syra was a huge support for me when we were working together on Hope for Humanity, but also after that as well. I know that she's only a phone call away. If I need anything, I can give her a ring, I can text her, and we can meet up, and I can talk over anything. And I've met so many other people as well like that, and I think it's important to remember those people, but I have made really good friends, and that support network will change. And I think that one thing we have to remember is just because people are not around us in terms of immediately there, doesn't mean they're not there for us. We just need to reach out to them. So at any point, if I need something, even if I worked with someone 2 years ago, I can give them a ring and say, look, I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? If they can't get involved directly, they will still advise. And I think that's just an amazing place to be in.
Excellent. So that makes a big difference. From what you've just said right now, support is all we need.
Definitely.
It could be one person's vision, one person's dream, and you can make it happen if you've got that support system there as well.
Again, if I have an idea, I can say, this is my idea, this is what I want to do. But it doesn't mean that because it's my idea, I've just made it happen. I haven't made it happen on my own. There have been people involved in that to make that happen. So it'll be a good opportunity now to sort of a huge shout out to everybody that's been involved in my journey since 2015 and is still involved to date, but that I haven't forgotten any of you. And I think that if I was to mention names, the list will be too long. But you guys know who you are. You guys know you're the ones that I will text and say, look, I'm not sure about this. What do you think? You're the ones that I'll pick up the phone and I'll ring you and say, do you want to meet up? Or I'll turn up at your house, random things that I do. Yes. Turn up at your house and knock on the door and say, oh, you're thinking about this idea. What do you think? So I think it's really important that people shouldn't forget, and people should never think that just because somebody's busy that they aren't thinking about the person that helped them out. I always think about the people that helped, and people don't forget. You do. Nobody forgets.
I'm sure that's brilliant. Okay. Just something really quickly. If there was anything you could change or do differently, what would that be?
I think this is quite hard. I think from a family perspective, I think I wouldn't have involved the children as much because I feel like I sort of pushed them into things because I was doing them. Can you do them as well? So that wasn't really a choice for them. So it was more of a mum's doing it, so we have to do it.
Yeah.
So any events that I go to, anywhere I go, and they still go with me now, but now it's a choice. So I'll ask them, do you want to come to this? Do you want to come to that? And they'll come. Whereas before it was more of an expectation that I'm going to this. But it was more about me not wanting to leave them at home on their own. So they were sort of with me, but then I was still doing my thing. So I was maybe enjoying it and they weren't. So I've sort of reflected on that. So that's something that, you know, is needed. So it's always ask somebody else. So that's an important thing, I think. From a community point of view is I would love just people, I think Naeem touched on it earlier, be consistent. You know, so many people approach us all the time and say, I want to help. It's great. We want people to help, but what I don't want people to do is sort of come and say, I want to help, and then you do it for 2 or 3 months, and then before you know it, like you said, your cup's empty, you can't then refill anybody else's. Do something, do it with consistency, dedication, commitment, but only commit what you can. Don't overstretch yourselves and do too much. So I think, you know, as a change for the community is do good, but do something small and meaningful and do something regularly. That will make a difference.
I mean, that touches up on my next question. How would you advise other people and our listeners who want to get involved in helping the community, but are afraid or feel that they don't have the time due to work, family, or other commitments?
I think what's really important is that it doesn't take a lot of time. So even though I'm involved in 2 or 3 projects, but that's just because of me and the way I work. And as Naeem said, I'm just a busybody, want to always do everything. And I have this kind of energy. I don't know where it comes from, but alhamdulillah, I can be busy all the time. If you can't offer that, then that's fine. That's not a problem. You know, you're not doing it in comparison to somebody else. You have to do what's best for you. I think if you can give up, even if it's an hour a month and make a difference somewhere, you need to do it. I think people, you know, 1 hour in a month is not a lot. We just need to be more organized. I think the one thing that I've done that I never used to do, and partly because I can't remember, that's one reason. But the other reason is because if you write things down and you're more organized and you set up things in advance, it's much better. So people are thinking, I want to get involved. I want to do stuff. I don't know if I've got time, but I'm working. You know, have a look at your day when you have a day off. Go and do something meaningful. You know, go and spend having coffee with somebody elderly who doesn't ever get a visitor come to their house.
Yes.
You know, go and knock on the door with your neighbor and make a cup of tea for them, and then, you know, share some conversations with them. You know, go to your local school, see if you could volunteer there and do an hour where you could teach somebody to read. There are many kids in our schools, they don't know how to read. And if we can offer an hour to our schools a week, we could help a child to read. So there's so many opportunities. If people get in touch, I'm happy to speak to people. I want them to do something they're going to enjoy. Just because this is what I do doesn't mean everybody needs to get involved in this. Find your passion. Find your inspiration. Find the people around you that you look to and think, you know what, they're doing amazing stuff. You can do amazing stuff. Every single one of us is capable of doing something amazing. We just need to find what it is and how we're going to do it.
And it doesn't have to be something so big, does it?
No,
I mean, you're doing quite a lot, and you've done a lot over time, and you've got the ability, like you push yourself.
Yeah.
You're going stronger, and you're still going. And may Allah keep on giving you the strength and your health to continue with the amazing stuff you do. But just letting the listeners know that it doesn't have to always be something so big.
Yeah.
It can be small little things, like you said, just starting off with a neighbor, or just giving those children that little time in reading.
And I think that the one thing that we have to mention as well is that charity starts at home.
Absolutely.
Is there something you can do at home that will make life better for the one other person in your house? And I think that is so important. And the one thing I always go back to is I've been married for 22 years. And the one thing I always do is before I leave the house is I make sure that I've made a cup of tea and left it on the side for my husband. So he works nights. He doesn't get up till late afternoon. And sometimes I'm out doing stuff and I won't be there when he wakes up. But the only way around that I found is that if I've made that cup of tea and I've left it there for him on the side with his breakfast, then at least that when he does get up, he's got that there. And I think that little things like that as well. So remember, charity starts at home. Let's do that first, and then let's move forward from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there a small message you can send out to our youth today?
Just really is to think about your actions and let's just make the right choices.
Excellent. Right. I want to actually say a big thank you to you for joining us today and giving us an insight, myself and the listeners, on how, what, and why you do for the community.
Well, thank you
what
for
you do,
inviting me.
I've heard some amazing things about you today, and it's been amazing, truly inspiring and really overwhelming, and I'm sure it's touched a lot of listeners as well with what you do.
Thank you.
So yes, you have really inspired us, and inshallah, hopefully you can carry on.
Yeah,
and
I hope
carry
so.
on inspiring many people around you, inshallah. So that was Rukhsana Hussein with us on Ramadan Special Eva 102.5 FM. Inshallah, we will be with you back for the Just Inspired show next Thursday between 12 and 1. And I shall be back with you on the Children's Hour today at 4 p.m. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.